So it is Thursday. We are a little more than 5 weeks away from show number 1 and getting a little more excited. You know, progress is moving along quite well, visibly looking more the part, but I do have a bit more fat to kind of go through. You know, there's still a couple of soft spots on me, so pushing pretty hard. And one of the reasons why I'm making this video right now is having a little hard time staying awake. I just got done dropping my son off to school, coming back from Walmart as well, and I'm kind of dozing off. So I'm like, okay, let me get the camera out and get my update to you guys. That'll keep me awake, keep me alert. But yeah, because I'm making the progress, I'm pushing hard, I'm starting to experience a little more fatigue. The sleep is getting a little more, impacted, and hunger levels are definitely creeping up. You know, the hunger I can deal with. It comes with the territory. It's inevitable. You're gonna be hungry if you're contest prepping. The goal is to get as lean as you possibly can. So of course that's basically a controlled starve. So you have to expect you're gonna feel hunger. And I just choose to embrace it and spin it as a positive. Because if I'm feeling hungry, chances are, I'm in a deficit and I'm probably going to utilize body fat as fuel. So I kind of spin it in that fashion, and that kind of just makes it a little bit easier to deal with, as opposed to, trying to fight it. And it's definitely more challenging the deeper we get into this. 1,700 calories a day. I know some think that's really, really low. It's relative though. Someone's 3,000 that they're dieting on, maybe that feels like my 1,700. So it's relative. It doesn't phase me too much. Yes, I do get hungry, but it's inevitable. We're going to be hungry during prep. It's part of the process. I embrace that suck. If I try to fight it, it just makes matters worse. It turns into a negative. So if I feel hungry and I'm moving, which that's kind of the case now, then I know what it's going to lead to. And that is progress. And that's exciting. The progress is motivating. I'm not motivated, so much to do the work every day, but the motivation does come via the progress from the work that I do. So it ends up kind of being more so the commitment that really drives me. So message to you guys, if you don't feel very motivated, just commit, put one step forward, even if it does feel shitty. Because eventually it won't feel like you're stepping in shit all the time. It'll feel like you're kind of stepping like this, where it just feels amazing. So let's get after it. So let's talk about training a little bit. So now that I'm getting deeper into the prep and getting leaner, energy levels being a little bit impacted, I got to train even more intelligently, not try to overreach in a sense. I think we want to have intent and try to progress still, while we're in a deficit, but you should be really good about picking your spots. You're having days where the energy level just isn't there, you're feeling some fatigue. It's okay to back off a little bit. And the way I like to do it is just another rep or two in the tank. Don't go so close to failure, and maybe at times even dropping a set off. Even if your volume is just a touch lower, the intensity is just a touch lower, you're still moving some pretty good weight. It's still probably close enough to failure to where your muscle's going like, okay, we're still moving heavy things here. We need to stick around for the next time. And because you're backing off at the right time, the recovery is going to be that much better. So if you try to force things when your body just really isn't in a position to do it, that could potentially create even more stress, more fatigue, and then therefore it makes it that much harder to recover from, and then future workouts can be negatively impacted. So you kind of have like this snowball effect. So I've been trying to really pick my spots wisely. Days where I'm feeling a little bit more spunky, I'll get in there and push a little bit harder. Days where I'm not, I'll just back off a little bit. We're still sticking, with upper lowers, training in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 times per week. 4 or 5 exercises per session, anywhere between 2 to 4 sets in exercise. And again, depending on how I'm feeling, if I want to get after it a little bit more, I might aim for 2 or 3 sets, get a little bit closer to failure or to failure if the exercise is safe to do so. Only on the last set though, so that way I don't overextend, overreach too much. And then days where I don't feel like I want to push as hard, but the energy is okay, then I might aim for more like 3-4 sets and just keep the intensity back down just a little bit. So kind of just depends on where my energy is at, where my overall mood is at. And I kind of just use some principles to navigate the training session, because it's really hard to know whether like doing more sets with a little less intensity is, let's say, more optimal than doing less sets with a lot more intensity. In my opinion, is probably splitting some fine hairs, and literally I don't have too many more left to split. So I want to preserve as many hairs as I possibly can. So I don't really stress too much on being, let's say, adamant on one way or one style of training. Like I'll basically, take a blend of training styles and make it work for the environment. And that's something that I've learned over the years. And what's helped me is like going through 16, 17 years worth of high intensity training, and then having some years now where I've done a bit more volume with less intensity. So now, I feel like my toolbox is well equipped to where I can pull out any tool at any given time for the job at hand and be successful. So the last 5 weeks, we're definitely going to be wise, intelligent, just like a good boxer, weaving his way through the rounds, picking spots to, throw some good heart straight punches, but also making sure I'm kind of backing out of there so I don't get hit back. So we'll make sure that we get to the later rounds and we get to that first show in one piece, and we'll do the best that we possibly can. So in my Instagram stories, I asked you guys if you had any questions for me, and quite a few of you asked if I was going to retire after the season is over. Now, here's the thing. A couple months back, I was about 95% sure that I was going to. Now that I'm in the thick of things, I'm definitely progressing well. I'm liking the way I'm looking and realizing that this physique still has some life left. Now the fire part of me is like, nah, I got a lot left in the tank, and I want to kick some ass. But I also know that I can't make a decision in the heat of the moment. And that was kind of where I was at a couple months back. I knew this was probably going to end up happening, where I caught some fire, I'd be motivated, and I want to keep going. So I know once the season is over, I need time to reflect and to kind of see where I'm at, and not make a in the moment decision, but actually let my mind process a lot of things and gain a lot of clarity. And part of me is the dad in me, I should say, the husband, knows just how much this process takes away from the family. It is a sacrifice, not only for myself, more so for them. Just a big time commitment. Like right now in the heat of it, I'm very rigid with things. So there's not as much flexibility with the life stuff. I'm doing the best that I can to balance it all. But the closer we get to it, I got to really close things in. And that's not going to be, too pleasant for the family. They're going to feel it a bit more. So that part of me really wants to retire. But the other part of me, the competitive part of me, the part of me that loves the process of chasing something, that's going to be harder to let go. So I just need a lot more time to gain perspective, to gain clarity, and not to rush to judgment. I've seen so many bodybuilders step off the stage and they're already talking about what they're going to do. I like to take a lot of time after and just really process things. I'm still processing, in a way, my 2019 prep. Like, there's things I look back on that I realize, like, okay, I could have did that better. I could do this better. I really enjoyed that part not so much. So again, I just need a lot of time to process. And I think whether you're towards the end of a career like I am, or whether you're just starting out, I always feel like it's a good idea not to make any type of emotional decisions in the moment. Like, I think we need time to process. But I'm gonna leave it here. I gotta get to work. I got a peak week to write up. I have show day plans to write up. Some athletes competing here, so I'm really stoked about that. But I will catch you guys on the next one.